rest of my life, knowing that I wasn't there for my baby. She must have been terrified. She must have been terrified for her children downstairs. You know, I just need some closure. I need some peace with her children to move forward. That's all. We just need some.
It was supposed to be a moment of joy, a happy memory, the kind of story that people smile about when they hear it. A woman accepts a marriage proposal from a man she loves. But what happens when that love turns deadly in a matter of minutes? On October 9, 2023, inside a quiet home in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, police received a 911 call that sounded like many others. A man claimed he had to shoot someone in self-defense. But when officers arrived, they found Amanda Williams, a popular hairstylist and local business owner, lying motionless. She had been shot and killed. The man who made the call? Her fiancé, Tirrell Edwards, the same man who had just proposed to her earlier that evening. This case shocked the community. How did a celebration turn into a crime scene so quickly? What really happened in that house? And who was Amanda Williams before her tragic end? If you're captivated by real crime stories that peel back the layers of truth, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us as we uncover real cases, raise awareness, and give a voice to the voiceless. Before we dive into today's story, we want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? And how do you feel as the story unfolds? Welcome to Deadly Crime Unmasked, the show where we expose the shocking crimes that rip through communities and the chilling secrets lurking behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications. You won't want to miss the gripping story that's coming up. Now, let's dive in. Amanda Williams was a 46-year-old woman from Warrensville Heights, Ohio. She was well known in her local community for her professional achievements and active social presence. Her name was respected not just as a hairstylist, but as a small business owner who built a loyal client base through years of hard work and consistency. She operated a local hair salon, which became more than just a place for beauty services. It functioned as a safe space where women from various walks of life gathered regularly. Amanda took pride in creating a clean, organized, and welcoming environment. Her business was well managed, with a reputation for punctuality, customer care, and high service standards. Many of her clients were longtime regulars who stayed loyal to her not just because of her skills, but also because of how reliable and respectful she was in her interactions. Amanda didn't just stop at cutting hair. She went beyond the chair. She mentored young women entering the beauty and cosmetology field. She offered advice on launching a business, handling clients, and managing work-life balance. Some of her mentors credited her with giving them their first opportunity in the industry. Others describe her as someone who believed in sharing knowledge rather than competing with others. Outside her salon, Amanda had an active presence in the Warrensville Heights community. She was involved in her local church, where she volunteered during events, fundraisers, and charity drives. She also participated in a women's sorority that focused on professional networking and community development. Through these activities, she became known not just as a stylist, but as a dependable, civic-minded member of the town. People who lived near Amanda said she was approachable. She greeted people in passing, remembered customers' birthdays, and often showed up at local events in support of others. It wasn't uncommon for Amanda to offer free or discounted services to elderly clients or to help younger girls get ready for prom when they couldn't afford it. These actions made her more than just a business owner in her city. They made her a fixture in the lives of many residents. In terms of personal qualities, Amanda was known for being cheerful, composed, and soft-spoken. She managed to remain professional, even when dealing with difficult clients or stressful days at work. Her demeanor was consistent, calm, direct, and businesslike, and she rarely engaged in gossip or public arguments. This added to her credibility and made her stand out as a mature, well-rounded individual. Amanda was also financially independent. She owned her car, paid her bills on time, and maintained her business without taking loans from others. Her success story was admired by younger women in the area who saw her as proof that you could make a name for yourself without depending on anyone. She did not post her private life online very often. Her social media presence, where it existed, was mostly limited to promotional posts for her business or occasional group pictures with clients and fellow stylists. She kept her personal relationships private and rarely spoke about her dating life publicly. Amanda Williams met Tirrell Edwards several years ago. At the time, Amanda was already a well-established hairstylist. The exact details of how they met are not widely documented, but people close to Amanda say the relationship started like most others: casual conversations, regular visits, and eventually consistent companionship. Over time, their relationship progressed. Amanda and Tirrell began dating publicly. Friends and family noticed that Amanda was frequently seen with Tirrell at events, social gatherings, and family occasions. From the outside, the relationship appeared normal. Photos shared on social media showed smiling faces, dinners, and moments that suggested happiness. According to acquaintances, Amanda did not mention any serious issues during the early stages of the relationship. There were no police reports or public complaints during this time. After dating for a while, Amanda and Tirrell moved in together. The decision to live together marked a turning point. They began sharing the same home, responsibilities, and space. Friends described the couple as settled. Amanda continued to run her salon, and Tirrell was seen occasionally helping out at events or staying in the background. The couple's next milestone was engagement. In late 2022 or early 2023, exact dates are not confirmed. Tirrell proposed to Amanda. She accepted. No engagement party or official public announcement was made, but Amanda did mention the engagement to a few close people. According to them, Amanda was planning for the future. She had started referring to Tirrell as her fiancé and seemed to be preparing for married life. However, behind the scenes, a different story was slowly forming. While the public perception was that of a happy, committed couple, some individuals close to Amanda later revealed concerns about Tirrell's behavior. These red flags weren't always loud or visible. Instead, they came in the form of subtle control and jealousy. On October 9, 2023, around 7 p.m., neighbors reported hearing raised voices from home. One neighbor later testified to hearing what they believed to be a loud argument or confrontation, followed by silence. No gunshots were reported at that time. At 7:25 p.m., a single gunshot was heard by another neighbor. Less than 2 minutes later, another 2 to 3 shots were heard in rapid succession. It's believed these shots were fired within a 1-minute window. Investigators later confirmed that Amanda Williams had been shot multiple times. By 7:30 p.m., Tirrell Edwards made a 911 call. In the recorded call, he stated, "I had to shoot her. She came at me with a knife. I didn't have a choice." Dispatch records show that police arrived at the residence by 7:38 p.m. Police units were immediately dispatched to the residence located on Emory Avenue, a quiet suburban street in the Cleveland area. Upon arrival, officers secured the perimeter and entered the home with caution. The scene they encountered was grim and silent. Inside the house, in what appeared to be the living room or family area, officers discovered Amanda Williams lie on the floor in a pool of blood. She was unresponsive. Paramedics on the scene quickly assessed her condition and pronounced her dead at the scene. Initial observations revealed that Amanda had suffered multiple gunshot wounds, with most of the shots appearing to be directed toward her upper body. Reports from a coroner later confirmed that she was shot 3 times, including once in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the back. The autopsy would later clarify that the chest wound was fatal. Next to Amanda's body, police located a black semi-automatic handgun, later identified as a Glock 19, which was recovered from the floor near a coffee table. The weapon was immediately taken into evidence. Investigators noted that the firearm had recently been fired. 3 shell casings were recovered nearby, consistent with the number of shots Amanda had sustained. Detectives secured the entire home as a crime scene. Crime scene technicians took photographs, dusted for fingerprints, and searched for additional physical evidence. No signs of forced entry were found. There were no broken windows, kicked-in doors, or signs of burglary gone wrong. The interior appeared mostly tidy, except for the immediate area around Amanda's body, where blood and overturned items suggested a brief struggle may have occurred. One of the most critical elements in cases involving domestic shootings is determining whether there was any imminent threat. In this case, police thoroughly searched the area where Amanda was found to determine if she had been armed at the time of the shooting. They did locate a kitchen knife on a nearby countertop, but there were no fingerprints on it, and it was not in Amanda's immediate vicinity. The blade showed no signs of recent use, no fingerprints, blood, or tissue residue. It was logged into evidence, but did not support Tirrell's claim that Amanda had threatened him with a knife. Following standard protocol, officers handcuffed and detained Tirrell Edwards at the scene. He appeared calm, cooperative, and without any visible injuries. His clothes had no blood stains. Tirrell was immediately taken into custody and questioned by investigators. From the beginning, his story raised concerns. He claimed that Amanda had come at him with a kitchen knife during an argument, and he said he acted in self-defense. However, investigators found several inconsistencies in his version of events. During his first interview, Tirrell stated that he and Amanda had gotten into a heated argument shortly after celebrating their engagement. He claimed she was upset about a text message she saw on his phone. According to him, Amanda allegedly picked up a knife from the kitchen and charged at him. He said he feared for his life and shot her multiple times. But in his second version, the details changed. He now claimed Amanda had not just picked up the knife, but also said threatening words before doing so. He added that she had raised the knife in a stabbing motion. In a third version of events, Tirrell said Amanda had a history of being emotionally unstable, and he feared that she might harm herself or him. Each retelling differed slightly, not only in sequence but also in motive and Amanda's behavior. This raised questions for detectives. Experienced investigators often rely on consistency in statements. In this case, the shifting details cast doubt on whether Tirrell's story was accurate or designed to protect himself. After the crime scene was processed, investigators noted that the house did not show signs of a struggle. Furniture was not overturned. Nothing appeared broken or out of place. Kitchen drawers were intact. There was no blood trail or damage suggesting Amanda had moved aggressively or forcefully before being shot. The knife that Tirrell said Amanda had picked up was found on the kitchen counter, clean and placed neatly. It had no blood, fingerprints, or any evidence to show it had been used or handled recently. There were no defensive wounds on Tirrell's hands or arms, something typically present if someone is attacked by a knife at close range. Amanda's body position also raised questions. She was found face down, with gunshot wounds to the upper body and no knife nearby. The positioning did not match a close-range fight or sudden self-defense scenario. The evidence began to suggest that Amanda may not have posed a physical threat when she was shot. Detectives interviewed several people close to Amanda, including family members, friends, and neighbors. According to their statements, Amanda and Tirrell had a complicated relationship. One neighbor said they often heard loud arguments coming from the house, especially late at night. A family member told police that Amanda had recently expressed doubts about the relationship and had considered ending it. Another friend recalled Amanda saying she felt like she was walking on eggshells around Tirrell in recent weeks. However, there were no police reports or formal complaints on record related to domestic disturbances. Still, none of those interviewed reported ever seeing Amanda behave violently. On the contrary, they describe her as calm, professional, and peaceful. No one recalled her ever using a weapon or making threats. This made Tirrell's story even harder to believe. The knife defense became a key part of Tirrell's explanation, but investigators treated the claim with caution. Crime scene technicians examined the knife and determined there was no blood, sweat, or fingerprints on the handle. No DNA was recovered from Amanda. Surveillance footage from inside the home was unavailable, but text messages from Amanda's phone before her death were retrieved. None showed signs of an argument or emotional distress that would support a sudden violent outburst. In fact, Amanda had texted a friend less than an hour before her death, saying she had just been proposed to and was feeling surprised but good. Forensic experts also reviewed the bullet trajectory. The wound showed that Amanda was not in a lunging or attacking position when she was shot. She was either standing still or turning away. This contradicted Tirrell's claim that he fired in a moment of panic to stop her attack. The police concluded that there was no solid evidence to support the self-defense narrative. Combined with the inconsistencies in Tirrell's statements and a lack of physical proof of any threat from Amanda, The investigation pointed to something more deliberate. Tirrell was formally charged with murder and other offenses shortly after. News outlets began to report on the case. Local TV stations ran daily updates, showing pictures of Amanda smiling with her clients and sharing footage of the police cars parked outside her home the night she died. Reporters interviewed neighbors, friends, and even former clients who had heard the news and were trying to make sense of it. The community's reaction was one of disbelief. People who had interacted with Amanda were vocal online. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter were flooded with posts that said things like, "This can't be real. She was just so full of life," and "Why would someone do this to her?" Photos of Amanda at her salon, attending church, or celebrating birthdays quickly circulated, followed by hashtags like #JusticeForAmanda and #SayHerName. Within a week, candlelight vigils were organized. The first one took place outside her salon. More than 200 people showed up, holding candles and signs. Though this event was emotional, the message from those who attended was clear and direct. Amanda deserved justice, and the truth needed to come out. Amanda's family was among the first to speak publicly. In a press conference, her sister described Amanda as focused, dedicated, and deeply caring. She explained how Amanda had worked hard to build her business from scratch. According to her, Amanda had always been the one to offer help to others, even when she had little of her own. But her family didn't stop at just remembering Amanda. They called for a complete investigation. They questioned the claim of self-defense made by the accused, Tirrell Edwards. Amanda's brother asked a question that stuck with many people watching. If this was truly self-defense, why wasn't there any sign of struggle? Her mother also spoke, calm and firm. She urged other families to pay attention to what might be going on behind closed doors, even in relationships that appear happy on the surface. Her words caught the attention of many advocacy groups. Soon, domestic violence organizations began to weigh in. One of the first groups to issue a statement was Ohio Against Domestic Abuse. They said Amanda's case showed how important it is to understand warning signs and support victims before situations turn deadly. They noted that while Amanda's murder made headlines, many similar cases go unnoticed every day across the country. Other advocacy groups pointed to the fact that domestic violence can often be hidden. They reminded the public that abuse is not always physical. It can be emotional, financial, and psychological. Some even use Amanda's case as part of campaigns to educate people about how abusers can appear charming or supportive in public, while being controlling in private. Workshops and town hall meetings were organized to educate the public on how to recognize the signs of domestic violence. Hotlines posted increased calls, with many people seeking help after Amanda's story aired. This tragic event, though devastating, became a wake-up call. Amanda's case also sparked discussions in local government. Community leaders began reviewing policies and funding for shelters and victim support services. Some even proposed new legislation that would make it easier for victims to report abuse without fear of retaliation. In summary, Amanda Williams' murder did not just leave her family grieving. It shook an entire community and sparked real conversations. Media coverage turned attention to the dangers of hidden abuse. Her family spoke out, not just to seek justice, but to warn others. And advocacy groups stepped in to raise awareness, offer resources, and push for changes that could protect others in the future. The public response was clear. This wasn't just one tragic case. It was a reminder that domestic violence can happen to anyone, even someone like Amanda, who seemed to have everything under control. The trial officially began in early 2024. It was closely watched by the public due to Amanda's local reputation as a business owner and mentor. The courtroom was filled with observers, and media outlets reported daily developments. The prosecution and defense both presented their arguments before a judge and jury. The central question the court had to answer was this truly self-defense, or was it an intentional act of murder? During the trial, the prosecution introduced several key pieces of evidence. Autopsy results. The medical examiner confirmed that Amanda Williams died from multiple gunshot wounds. The bullet paths and injury patterns showed she was shot at close range. There were no defensive wounds on Tirrell, and no injuries that suggested Amanda physically attacked him. Text messages and phone records. Investigators presented phone records and text messages exchanged between Amanda and Tirrell in the months leading up to the incident. Some messages revealed tension in the relationship, including Amanda expressing fear, wanting space, and suggesting that things were not working out. Testimonies from friends and family. Several witnesses took the stand. Friends of Amanda testified that she had mentioned feeling unsafe and that there had been past arguments. One relative said Amanda once confided that she felt controlled and monitored. No witnesses could confirm any violent behavior on Amanda's part. Crime scene analysis. There were no signs of a struggle found inside the home. The knife that Tirrell claimed Amanda had was recovered, but was found clean and placed on a nearby counter, not near Amanda's body. No fingerprints or blood were detected on the knife. Tirrell Edwards and his defense attorney maintained that Amanda had threatened him with a knife during an argument. He claimed he was forced to act to protect himself. According to his version of events, Amanda picked up the knife during a heated discussion and came toward him aggressively. Tirrell stated he warned her multiple times to stop, but when she continued approaching, he fired his weapon in panic. He insisted that he feared for his life and had no choice. The defense attempted to support this by pointing out Amanda's messages where she sounded angry or frustrated. They also cited Tirrell's clean criminal record and argued that he had no history of violence. The prosecution challenged every aspect of the self-defense claim. They argued there was no physical evidence showing Amanda had ever held or used a knife. The placement and condition of the knife suggested it was not involved in the altercation. Amanda's body had gunshot wounds to her chest and torso, not injuries consistent with someone attacking. There were no injuries on Tirrell to suggest a struggle or that he was attacked. The scene had no overturned furniture, broken items, or blood spatter patterns that would suggest a fight had taken place. The prosecution concluded that Tirrell acted out of anger or fear of losing control, not self-defense. They stated that Amanda posed no immediate threat that would justify deadly force under Ohio law. The legal team reminded the jury that in order for a self-defense claim to be valid, the threat must be real, immediate, and unavoidable. In this case, they said, none of those conditions were met. The courtroom remained focused as both sides rested their arguments, and the jury was left to decide Tirrell Edwards' fate. On March 4th, 2024, the case of Tirrell Edwards finally came to a close inside a courtroom in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. After months of public interest and several days of testimony, the jury delivered its verdict. They found Tirrell guilty on all counts, except for aggravated murder. The charges he was convicted of included 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, 1 count of domestic violence. The jury rejected the defense's claim of self-defense, which had been the central argument made by Tirrell's legal team. Throughout the trial, he maintained that Amanda had threatened him with a knife, and that he shot her because he feared for his life. However, investigators found no weapon in Amanda's hands at the crime scene. There were no visible signs of a struggle, and there was no forensic evidence to support the presence of a knife during the incident. According to prosecutors, the evidence showed that Amanda Williams was unarmed and not posing any immediate threat when she was killed. They argued that the shooting was intentional and unjustified. During the trial, prosecutors presented text messages and witness statements showing previous tension in the relationship. These messages included arguments, control issues, and possible threats. Tirrell Edwards did not testify in his own defense. His legal team stuck with the self-defense strategy, suggesting Amanda could have been the aggressor. But the jury was not convinced. Once the guilty verdict was read, sentencing followed shortly afterward. The judge sentenced Tirrell Edwards to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 24 years. This means Tirrell will have to serve at least 24 full years before he can even be considered for parole. If the parole board denies his request, he may remain in prison for life. The presiding judge, in a calm but firm tone, addressed the courtroom before announcing the sentence. The judge said, "This was a tragic and unnecessary loss of life. The court does not find sufficient justification for your actions. The jury has spoken, and the law requires consequences. This sentence reflects the seriousness of what occurred." The judge made it clear that the court found no credible reason to view the killing as self-defense. The judge also stated that the sentence was designed to protect the public and to reflect the seriousness of domestic violence that escalates into deadly force. During sentencing, the courtroom was silent as Amanda Williams' family was given the opportunity to speak. Several family members took the stand to deliver victim impact statements. These statements are allowed by law to let the court hear how the victim's death has affected their loved ones. Amanda's daughter, her sister, and her cousin all made brief statements. While keeping their emotions in check, they described Amanda as a hard worker, a supportive family member, a woman who built a business from the ground up. They stated that Amanda had dreams that were never fulfilled, including plans to expand her salon and mentor more young women in her industry. They said she was planning a community beauty event that had to be canceled after her death. One family member said, "Our family will never be the same. The emptiness we feel cannot be repaired, but we are grateful the legal system has done its job." The family expressed disappointment that Tirrell had not shown any remorse. They noted that throughout the trial, he never apologized or took responsibility for Amanda's death. This observation was also noted by prosecutors during their closing arguments. The case ended with the judge ordering that Tirrell be immediately transferred to a state correctional facility to begin serving his life sentence. The media was present during sentencing, and the story was widely reported across Ohio and beyond. Many in the community saw this as a clear example of the justice system responding to domestic violence with serious consequences. However, others questioned whether more could have been done earlier to prevent Amanda's death. This final courtroom moment closed a legal chapter of the Amanda Williams case. But the memory of the victim and the conversation sparked by her story continue. If this story gripped your heart and left you questioning the truth, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with others who need to hear it. For more chilling true crime stories that dive deep into the mysteries behind these tragedies, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest updates, investigations, and thought-provoking discussions. Thank you for being part of this journey with us as we uncover the truth and seek justice. Together, we can make a difference. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next one.